old President Cheeto, Mango Head, what I'm saying? President Peach, if you will, got his hands in everything, what I'm saying? So now he met with Nick Saban down in Tuscaloosa. They had a conversation, and now it sounds like he's on board with some NIL reform. So Nick Saban, this was one of the things that Nick Saban told the president. He referred to the NIL model as unsustainable. And this is the golden part right here, Mr. Logical. This is the golden part.
I'm listening.
It creates, quote, it creates a sharply uneven playing field between schools with more resources and those with less, unquote. So this is the problem with that. You coached at Alabama. You wasn't winning national titles at Missouri. You weren't winning national titles at Illinois. You weren't winning national titles at South Carolina or Washington State. You were at the creme de la creme, getting all the 5 stars you wanted and all that. Who had the unfair advantage then? And then he said, I'm leaving because these dudes' attitudes are changing due to the NIL. No, you just can't control them anymore.
Preach.
You just can't control them anymore. You're mad.
Preach.
That they can get the same money that your buddies are getting.
If I had an organ in here, I'd be like,
Well, see, that's the thing about it, right? So Nick Saban started out at Kent State, his alma mater. You know what I mean? So I think he knows the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Okay.
Correct.
So he left Kent State. He goes to Michigan State. Okay. So Michigan State isn't Michigan. They aren't Ohio State. They probably aren't Penn State. But they do pretty well.
You could probably get a solid handful of recruits from the surrounding states, yes.
Right. So then he goes to the NFL, comes back. Or I'm sorry, I skipped a step. He goes to LSU, and revitalizes that program into now me and you be having arguments about if LSU is a blue blood. We're not having that conversation if he never went there. You know what I mean? So then you leave LSU, you go to the NFL, quit. Talking about these players transferring and quitting. You quit.
Lack of leverage.
After saying that you weren't going to quit. And then you went to the best school in college football history. So don't talk to me about unfair versus fair. You know what I mean? When you coached at LSU and Alabama.
We'll go ahead and drop my tagline. Don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining. This NIL money, the NIL deals, Trump wanting to be involved, has nothing to do with balance. And we are living in a day and age where we are drawing relationship lines on political boundaries, but we're not cultivating our relationships based off critical thinking. I want people to hear this out. Donald Trump is a narcissist. He exhibits narcissist personality disorder traits. 100%. We can't deny it. You guys can support him all you want. I'm cool with it, whatever. Just know that this person's behavior, you would not want to work for a person who behaved this way. He wants to be involved in everything. He wants his hands in everything so he can say, look what I did. I fixed college football. Now, to the money. Nick Saban was recorded as Alabama coach begging boosters to give him more money because Texas A&M had more money and took recruits that he could have gotten, but Jimbo paid more money.
Snitched and everything.
So he's well aware of the fact that the NIL does benefit schools who has access to more money because he literally asked people for the money. So he was not as if he wasn't a fan of NIL. He just didn't want to be behind anybody in regards to the NIL, and he was behind Jimbo. Then they got the money, and he probably just got sick of having conversations with guys he knew were going to be 3rd and 4th string corners or 3rd or 4th string running backs or 5th string wide receivers or special teams guys about money. I can understand that. But it was never about an unfair balance because it's never fair. It's not fair. Your access to funding isn't fair. It's not a collectively bargained amount of money that each university has. Harvard told Trump no, and he said, I'm gonna deny this $2.2 billion, federal funding that we're gonna send to you. They're like, all right, bet we got $55 billion in our endowment. We can dig into our little savings account and keep ourselves afloat. You don't have the leverage. If you don't give $2 million to a community college, yeah, it might cause them some harm. In college football, the NIL is not the problem. It's the fact that they don't have complete and total control over the players.
And they never
And that's
set up
all they
boundaries
want.
and they never set up boundaries and guidelines in the first place. I mean, NIL is only 4 years old. And there was never a thought put into it of this is the positives, this is the negatives, this is how we should regulate it. Because the NCAA, you've heard me talk about them ad nauseum.
You
They
can't
have no
regulate
power.
how much money I get off my face. You
Right.
can't regulate how much
Well,
money
no, it's not
my
even about that.
personality brings
It's
in.
not even about that. It's more about
Because that's what it is.
when we're talking
It's
about
name,
that
image,
gap.
and likeness, because that was the problem. You can't cap me on how much I can earn. Kim Kardashian, we bring another Kardashian shout out to E Network. Kim Kardashian
Not on
she
purpose.
probably has a deal with, let's say, Maybelline for whatever reason, some makeup brand, to where she posts a picture of her using their product and they give her $1 million.
Mhm.
You and I, when we get sponsored and we're drinking Liquid Death, they probably not going to give us $1 million. Our reach doesn't mean $1 million. There's no reason for her to be capped on how much Maybelline can give her because of her name, image, and likeness. So it should be no reason that
Well,
Arch
that's what
Manning should have a
that's
cap on
where
what he gets because he has a name. It shouldn't be a cap on that. It should be, how do you legally get access to the players and get them on campus? Those should be the only rules they have to follow. When it comes to the
Mhm.
money is me as an individual negotiating with people who are willing to provide me funds to be associated with my brand
All right,
and
so
me
now
associated with theirs.
so stay there for a second. So, couldn't someone argue, then why are you trying to get money from the school?
The problem is they know they need to use the money to entice the player, and they need to connect the player with people who are going to bring them money. So if I have a booster who is an oil tycoon and I'm, in Texas or whatever the case may be, and he wants Texas Tech football out in Lubbock to be successful, he or she's gonna have to fork up a promissory note or some kind of financial commitment that says, hey, I'm gonna put these guys on my billboard for my oil company. Come see Texas Tech football every Saturday at Lubbock,
Mhm.
Red Raiders, yada, 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 yada. The money is going to have to be negotiated. But you can't put a cap on what they want to give me for my impact.
Mhm. So, Representative Michael Baumgartner, he's from Washington State. He's proposed HR 2663, which is called the Restore College Sports Act. And what he wants to do is replace the NCAA altogether with a commissioner appointed by the President of the United States.
Why does the president of the United States have anything to do with college athletics? It's just because they need to pander to this dude because he's a fucking narcissist. Excuse my language. He has nothing to do with college football, but the government's going to get involved. They are all spineless. They're all terrified of this dude taking his support away to the point where, like, you're not involved in this. Get your people off of drugs in your state. Get the
Right,
people off of fentanyl in your state. Get the people books so they can read.
right,
20% of America can't read. He worried about the people playing tackle football in Tuscaloosa. You got people outside of Alabama's campus that read on a 6th grade level and they're operating heavy machinery. Like, you need to worry about education in America. You need to worry about health. You need to worry about how much some 19-year-old kid is going to get because he's handsome and his personality is dope. And Monster Energy wants to give him a monster truck and let him drive it around campus and give him $1 million. You don't need to worry
Right.
about what Livy Dunn was getting in LSU to do backflips. That is not your business. It's nothing to do with you. Like, stop trying to use your frenzy connections and act like you care about the people. The people of America don't care about college football players getting paid. They care about themselves getting paid. Teachers' average salary in across America is like $50,000. You can't live off $50,000. Don't worry about it. This kid who could throw the ball 30, 40, 50, 60 yards, how much he's getting paid. How about the teacher has 30 kids in her class and she's getting paid $38,000 in Oklahoma? How about you worry about that? Stop worrying about the fucking NCAA. You're trying to replace it. Stop kissing his ass. Worry about your own constituents and let the NCAA handle their problems. You're just upset that these fucking kids are having some power of you that you can't just yell at them and cuss them out. Because I'm walking this bitch with everyone's talking about Nico. I'm leaving. Yeah, he left with $5 million. People thought he made a mistake. I'm leaving my job. I don't give a shit if I'm leaving with $5 million. Kiss my ass, bitch. I'm out. So it's like I'm just sick. I'm just sick of the
I'm
nonsense.
rich,
You
biatch.
don't care. People do not care about the money. Trump had dudes in his office that made $1 billion when he changed it, lifted tariffs, and he bragged about it. But yet a dude who can go out there and has Instagram following on and does backflips for Michigan fucking gymnastics can't make $1 million. Cut it out. They don't care. They just want control. And the more and more people walk around thinking that dudes in suits in Washington, D.C. care about your well-being, you're a goddamn fool. They do not care about your well-being. So if your kid's going to be a college athlete, groom them to understand how to manicure their social media, how to keep their personality clean, how to make themselves money, because you're going to need it.
Do it the Jason Tatum way.
$700 rent apartments with you and a roommate, and you got 2 bedrooms, and you can kick it and learn and play video games and live life. That's not happening. People need money now. Everything costs more. Don't tell me I got to limit my money because I run fast and I can catch passes and you don't want to give me that much money. Then don't coach. Go to ESPN and get you $17 million a year to talk about football. Let me get my 1.7 from Tennessee if they want to give it to me, or if Washington wants to give it to me, or if Texas Tech wants to give it to me, or if Tulane wants to give it to me. Stay out of my damn business. You're going to get your taxes on it because I'm not a billionaire yet. So you're going to get your little 28, 30, 40, 35%, depends on what state you live in. Stay out of my business. Keep your grubby motherfucking paws out of people's pockets. I'm sick of people. I'm sick of billionaires. I'm sick of people in this country taking the sides of billionaires. You're more likely to meet and know someone in your family that's going to get an opportunity with this NIL than you're going to meet a billionaire. You tell me how many people, hands you went to high school with that are billionaires. I went to school with Michael Vick. He's a millionaire. I was down the street from Allen Iverson. He's a millionaire. These dudes live in my city. Millionaires. I met some rappers, some DJs, some other people, some famous people, some chefs. These people are millionaires. You're more likely to meet a millionaire in your life and be connected to them than you are a billionaire. But yet, every single time it comes to money, you idiots side with the goddamn billionaires. Let these kids get their money. Stay the fuck out their business. And I'm done.
I mean, I got nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look, at the end of the day, absolutely right. The NCAA is spineless. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be a thing in the next 10 years. Warriors up by 20 at the end of the third.
Face of the league. See how quickly things change in America?
Get
on it.
So I don't know. Like, I think that Nick Saban's not the only one. You know what I'm saying? We saw Jay Wright leave Villanova, who I was hurt by because I was like, hey, you're on your way to being one of the best, and just decided like, nah, these kids getting money. Nah.
They left because other people that they are trying to mold to succeed started succeeding earlier than they wanted them to. If I have 3 sons and 1 daughter, if they started making the same money I was bringing in this year, just playing video games on YouTube, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm moving since you guys are making your money now. No, I groomed you to be successful. This path is a successful path. I helped you get there. Why am I going to run because now you're benefiting from what I've
Yeah,
been
they
teaching
talk
you.
about how
I
coaches.
taught you how to tackle. I taught you these plays. I put you on TV. I put you in these interviews. I recruited you to the school. I did all of this to bring you here. And now you being here is you're profiting from it. And I'm like, now I can't handle it. It's crock. It's
Well, you know,
control.
they told us about coaches like John Thompson and John Chaney who this ain't about basketball. You know, this is about life. Well, I'm teaching you how to be men. I'm teaching you how to take on the world. Hey, Nick Saban, if you're so concerned, how about you teach these guys financial literacy or get them connected with people that specialize in that? You know, because you're teaching them life. You don't care about them. You care about your national titles, your reputation.
Trophies go to your house.
Yeah, the trophies go to your house, and you know you care about being better than Bear Bryant. That's what you cared about. And now that you're gone from the game, you know you would probably be a name that dozens of people would sponsor to be the first college football
If
commissioner.
he was the voice of reason and not the voice of control, he would get a lot of people backing him, and they would think, you know what, you have a lot of sway, but instead, like all of these uh, public Republicans are doing, they're just pandering to the current administration and are relinquishing all self control, self doubt, self respect for that matter. They're just giving it up to this guy because he
Mhm.
wears a fucking red tie and he combs his hair
You,
sideways.
you know what would be ironic? As if they did hire a commissioner, brought it full circle, and it was Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher not getting a job in college football again.
He'll get a job in the next 2 years.
Not if I'm still getting paid by Texas A&M, which once again they're not complaining about these coaches are still getting paid and they're doing inadequate jobs, or when
Yeah,
these
well,
coaches
we
leave
were just talking
schools.
about it ourselves, right? Like the reason that Mike Norvell didn't get fired from Florida State this past season is because his buyout is $63 million, and we
Exactly.
complaining about people making $2 million.
And you complain
And how,
about
and how many of these dudes are actually
16 quarterbacks probably make over $1 million in America right now.
maybe,
Maybe
maybe
16.
because like you figure maybe Arch, you know, saying maybe Cade Klubnik, maybe Drew Aller.
Drew Aller.
That's
We're just
it.
saying hypothetically. Drew Aller, DJ Lagway, the young boy that went to Tulane, whoever went to Duke. I think Utah threw a little bag at their guy.
I mean,
Honestly, I haven't heard that
Carson
many
Beck
people.
is making four
Carson Beck
million.
making 4 million.
Nico,
Nico's making a few, few shekels down
but
in
it ain't
California.
many though.
Yeah,
Like for the
it's
fact that we
not
could just call them
90.
off, you know,
Yeah,
we
it's
could just
not
call them off our
90
head.
kids.
Yeah,
It's not a kid on every, even if you went with the top 25 teams, you would think there's probably 2 or 3 kids per team making 1 million. That's not the case.
yeah,
But if they still
yeah.
want to stand at the car wash and sign
I
autographs and
wonder
get
how
his
much Kyle McCord is
$50,000 per
making.
semester, let him get his 50 G's.
Well, yeah,
But
because
if the car
remember,
dealership wants to put him on a commercial, let him get $1 million. Caleb
Fran
Williams is a
Brown,
Dr. Pepper commercial.
or remember Fran Brown at Syracuse was talking about like I ain't paying no $2 million for a receiver.
Yeah. And he'll go somewhere else and maybe he'll take 200,000, but maybe you got to work a better deal. I think these guys has got to get better at the deal. So allow them. Look, listen, you make your mistake.
And they're
It's
probably
not.
still getting snaked.
And listen, and they've cut scholarships. They've gotten rid of players. They made players
Mhm.
transfer for not performing
For
well,
being injured.
being injured, being late, failing the class, whatever the case may be. It's not like players don't move. So if this guy decides that he wants $2 million from you, and you're like, I'm not doing it. You're gonna get 700-800 yards from another guy you bring in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're Syracuse, you're Indiana, you're Purdue, you're a top Big 5 conference school.
I mean, look,
You'll get another wide receiver.
you
Hell,
know,
I
we always
got one down the hallway that will be ready in 2 years, if you want to bring him to your campus, if you don't want to pay a guy $2 million, he'll come there for tuition and $25,000. What did Draymond do?
No, DiVincenzo was guarding Jimmy Butler, reached for the ball. Jimmy Butler fell. And Dante just stood there and put his hands on his hips. And Draymond came and grabbed Dante out the way. But no, but even with that being said, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like these guys are probably getting snaked anyway, because I'm sure some of them, like, I don't know about Arch, but some of them have agents
that aren't really agents. They're just dealing with guys who that took them on a boat, took them to a house, and they don't know that house is rented, the boat is rented, and now they're dealing with a dude who's working out of a closet at his grandma's house, and he's acting like
why don't you teach them about that, Nick Saban, and how to avoid those people and how to notice them and
hire people to teach them at the school.
It's that simple.
Get the economics department to come to the football facility once or twice a week, the basketball facility a couple times a week, or just have them make mandatory monthly check-in appointments while they're in school. Like, hey, you got to check in with this guy for 2 hours, or this, the economics professor, she's going to help you out with investments, whatever the case may be, the finance team. There's people there's resolution to this that's beyond you just bitching and complaining about somebody else's success. Because you can tell, like, I'm pretty, passionate about this argument, because I've had it multiple times. Because people's like, it should be a cap. I'm like, there's not a cap on how much money Robert Downey Jr. is going to get for Dr. Doom, unless it's negotiated in his contract. No one can be like, oh, he can only get $1 million because we don't want him to get more than that for this movie. If that movie is going to make $1 billion and you brought me in, I want to cut it at. Or give me 2 points on the back end. Whatever that negotiation is, that's his negotiation. It's not on you to put a limit on it. It's not like they're sharing money. It's not a collectively bargained group. It's not a revenue sharing.
That's why I said that's what I was just about to say. I'm interested to see where this revenue sharing goes. So,
the revenue sharing is like the NFL or the NBA or anybody else. LeBron James gets whatever cut that the NBA players get from whatever, he gets his money out of that cut.
Mm-hmm.
The money he gets from Nike has nothing to do with Jackson Hayes. He sells shoes for Nike.
Jackson Hayes can't even get a deal with Kyrie Company.
Doesn't do that. So it's like,
I don't even know if Jackson Hayes could sponsor Starberries.
Just like, he might have something, but like, once again, his off the court sponsorship money has nothing to do with Luka, KD, Bronny Jr. If you feel like he doesn't deserve it, that's not on you to determine. It's on the people who are going to pay him to stand at this car wash and cut the ribbon at this elementary school or shoot jump shots with kids at St. Jude's Hospital. Whatever it is that they're doing, that's on them. None of your damn business. Stop counting people's pockets.
Nope. So on that note, get your hand out of my pocket, because it's time for us to bid you adieu. As we finish off Warriors and Wolves game 1, Warriors up 83-65 early fourth quarter. We'll see if Minnesota can make the comeback again. No Steph Curry, out with a hamstring for the rest of the game. We'll see what that means for the rest of the series. So we'll be back on Friday, with some more follow-up of these playoffs. Hopefully the Pacers up 3-0 at that point, as the series shifts to Naptown, So be good out there. Enjoy your sports. Do the right thing. Quit bitching about NIL. Love you. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things. Do all the good things. Make sure you have you a liquid death. And above all else, do not bring feelings to a fact fight.
Don't do it.
Peace.